the New York Knicks and Rangers. Joining us now on the Squawk Newsline, Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav. David, thanks for joining us this morning.
Hey,
Happy
Joe,
New Year.
Hi, Becky. Happy New Year.
Thanks, David.
I just reading on how it all came to pass, and you were maybe not at the very beginning, Zaz, you weren't around, but you watched it from its infancy, and it took a unique individual to recognize even the idea
of this cable men media business. Well, first, Chuck was a regular guy. He was married for 72 years.
We're having a bet.
I was 29. He had 6 kids, Sunday night dinner every night. Every son was at his family. So he was a regular guy and with great integrity and kindness. But he wasn't a regular guy because he was one of the generation's greatest entrepreneurs. He launched the first urban cable system here in Manhattan. And he had this idea. Cable was to get a signal, and they did it in rural communities. He had an idea that he could do it in Manhattan, in an urban community. And one of the challenges that you had then was the programming wasn't good enough because you could get most of the broadcast networks in Manhattan. And so Chuck was just an extraordinary entrepreneur. He created HBO with the idea that he needed something else so that people would buy cable. So he would buy movies, and he'd run the movies all day and pipe them into people's homes, and he called it home box office. And it's one of the things that drove cable in Manhattan, but it wasn't enough. So he came up with the idea that he needed sports. So he went to the owners of the Knicks and the Rangers, and he asked if he could carry those games on cable. It's hard to believe, but at that time, sports was not carried. Most sports were not carried on television because the view was if you put it on TV, then people wouldn't come to the Garden or to the stadium to watch. And so Chuck did something that really changed the sports business. He said, I will guarantee you a sold-out house for the Garden and for the Rangers. Any seat not sold, I'll buy. And he put the Knicks and the Rangers on the Manhattan cable system together with HBO. And that was the model that urban cable followed, I met Chuck when I was 29 because I joined the cable group at NBC, and the cable group was nothing. And in '89, and all the cable networks were losing money. And so we needed to find a partner. And he was already a giant. And so Jack Welch said we need to partner with Chuck Dolan. He built the Manhattan cable system. He created HBO. He brought sports to cable. And the reason we needed a partner was we weren't sure it was going to be a business. And so even CNBC, when we launched CNBC in '89, Chuck was our partner. It was 50-50. And then we were partnered on Bravo and AMC and IFC. And we innovated, and Chuck came up with the idea for a regional news network with News 12 Long Island. And he was just a great entrepreneur and a great leader for our business. And I don't think our business would look anything like what it does now if it wasn't for Chuck.